All right, we're going to reconvene. All right, thanks everybody. We'll now flash forward to new business number 1. Shelley Mayo is presenting.
Okay, so the project before you is a revised master subdivision plan for the towns at Westford. We were just here, so it is still located here, just north of 64, south of Jenks Road. Just setting the stage here for everybody. Still the same picture, only this time, instead of talking about the entire parcel, we're only talking about this part where the townhomes are going to be located. Same rezoning, still compliant with the land use map. So the applicant did conduct a neighborhood meeting on September 27th. They missed 12 property owners across the street, so they had to conduct a separate second neighborhood meeting on the 29th of November. Both of those meeting reports are in your staff report. The towns at Westford was originally approved on November 21st, 2017, and includes 315 townhome lots on 55 3/4 or so acres. It's proposing a little over 10 3/4 acres in RCA. During construction, the builder decided to change product types. Originally, they had what was called an English basement townhome, which basically means that the front half of it is partially submerged. Submerged makes it sound like water. Partially underground. So you've got windows at the top that are above ground, but the rest of it is underground. And then the back of it would have been the garage, which would have been at grade for the alleys, because these are all alley loaded. The lots that we're talking about that are being affected specifically are the ones that are in blue through here. So when the developer decided to change product types, it required them to change grading, because you can't have a partially underground building with the same grading as one that's completely above ground. So because of that, this is the new elevations. These were already approved as a minor deviation. That's something that the planning director is allowed to do. But because of that, they had to figure out how to make the fronts essentially became higher off the ground in order to fix the alleys at the back. The fronts became higher up off the road in this area than they were before, and under the old approval, what they could have done was put a whole bunch of stairs in front of each and every one of these units, complete with multiple landings and turns and the potential to completely clutter up the streetscape. Instead, what the applicant is proposing is a series of additional retaining walls along the front. This is one example of one particular part of it. In some places, there are 2 tiered retaining walls. In other places, there's just one taller one. They range anywhere from 2 to about 7 feet tall. They have these shared walkways along the front of them, which connect back to the main road down through here. In a couple of places, there are stairs that go up the middle and provide additional walkways between the buildings of the townhomes. The reason why this has to come back to town council is because it requires, staff considers it not a minor deviation. We consider it a fairly substantial change to the grading, but most importantly, very similar to the Oak Point plan that you guys saw last month where we had the revised grading and everything. It's requiring additional easements across the property, and that is not something that staff is comfortable with approving, nor do we believe that we have the authority under the UDO. So in order for this to be approved, which we believe is both more aesthetically pleasing than every single townhome having 15 steps with different tiers and landings on them, and we believe will function much, much better in terms of just the overall flow of the subdivision and retaining the dirt and keeping everything looking good.
So, Ms. Mayo, if I could interject, I just want to be clear here. Your discomfort is not with the submission itself; it's the approval process that
correct.
It's no longer at staff level. You want to get council buy-in.
Yes.
All right. Good. Just want to be clear where the discomfort was.
This looks very good. We think that this will work very well. It will take careful construction by the applicant, but we believe that they are perfectly capable of doing that. And we reviewed the revised master subdivision plans, and we recommend approval. Planning board also saw this, and they also recommended approval. This is purely a council-level administrative approval. It is not something that can be done as a staff-level administrative approval.
All right, very good. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Mayo? Unless you were, I'm sorry. Okay, it sounded like you were done.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Questions for Ms. Mayo?
Have some that are kind of below ground already been
No.
constructed?
They
Okay,
had-
but they're changing to this.
Yep. All of the ones that were originally going to have, essentially, the door would have been up a little higher, and these windows would have been shallower, and the dirt would have come up to right about here, halfway. All of those would have been these blue lots.
Okay,
And currently, they've only gotten to work on the infrastructure, the grading, and the clearing. They're getting close to being ready to plat the roads through here and some of the infrastructure in this first portion, but they're not quite there yet, and until they plat, they can't build the houses. So no houses have been built yet at all.
Are there rules that we have or practices about like the safety, like how many times you need to have access to that kind of walkway system?
There's ADA accessibility requirements
Okay.
for everything, and these do meet that. This is not the best drawing in the world for this. I don't have, unfortunately, any of the zoomed-in versions, but essentially it meets at almost each of these corners. And there's on this long block, for example, there's a staircase through here that connects down halfway through.
Okay.
And then again, it meets the regular sidewalk down here at the corner again.
So the most is like 4 or 5 units you'd have to walk from the furthest entrance?
Depending on where it is, the most you're going to walk is about 8.
Okay.
So I guess depending on how you look at it. So if you live in this unit, say right here,
Yeah.
within 3, you have an access here. Within 4, if you're going this direction, within 4, you have an access here. So the most you would have is 2 buildings of 4 to 5 units each before you have an access point.
There wasn't a safety issue with that, right? I mean, you'll think about, okay. And was it going to increase the amount of like paved area as a result?
Not substantially. Generally speaking, this will still be vegetated. Most of these walls don't require any kind of geogrid behind them. There's a few that will, which will make plantings have to be things like native grasses, decorative perennials, things that don't have woody root systems to interfere with the wall. But generally speaking, it won't increase it that much. There will be the amount of the additional sidewalk, but that's not significant in this one and does not put them anywhere close to being over their maximum amount.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
second.
All right. We have a motion and a second for approval. Discussion?
I would just like to point out on page 5 of our staff report, for these 315 townhome lots, the developer is fronting $648,692.10 in Parks and Rec fees. That cost is then passed on to the end buyer, driving the cost up.
Just as a clarification point, that per lot fee is actually based on a 2012 rezoning date, so that was the fee that was per individual unit as of 2012. This
Is it higher or
product.
lower now?
It is higher now.
Higher now.
Yes, it is almost $3,000 if I remember
lot.
correctly, per lot.
Per
townhome.
townhouse unit, right?
Yes.
Because it's different for single family.
Single
different
family
for
is higher.
apartment, all that stuff, right? Okay. I know we've had a lot of affordability discussions, and we continue to, so we all love the parks, but this is also something that adds to that cost.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, that passes unanimously. We now go to new business number 2. And, we have a new presenter. Miss Sarah Rayfield's going to tell us about the Ellsworth Master Subdivision Plan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Howdy, I thought you were going to sit back there and not say one word tonight.
Oh, no, best for last, hopefully.
Greg, glad to have you. Floor's yours.
All right, I'm bringing forward the master subdivision plan for the Ellsworth subdivision located at 8209 and 8233 Green Level Church Road. It's located here on the west side of Green Level Church Road, right adjacent to the intersection with Roberts Road and south of Green Level West Road. Here is the aerial of the site, again showing you the location across from the high school. Here we have the Regency at White Oak Creek South, Green Level West here to the north, and Town of Cary jurisdiction up here. The property is currently zoned low-density residential conditional zoning. This was brought to you in a case in the beginning of the year, first quarter roughly, for a rezoning. This is now the subsequent subdivision from that. The 2030 land use recommendation is low-density residential. The current zoning is also consistent with the 2045 land use map recommendations. The site is currently wooded and vacant. The applicant conducted a neighborhood meeting on August 9th, 2018. That meeting report is included in your packet. This site consists of 33.58 acres and 36 lots. They are achieving a density of 1.07 units per acre. There was an allowable density of up to 1.2 dwelling units per acre per the zoning conditions. They are providing 11 acres of RCA located primarily in this area, a little bit of buffer RCA down here. This is a low-density project. RCA is not required. However, the site is proposed for mass grading, which requires the 2%, which would be slightly under an acre. Again, they are providing 11 acres, which totals out to about 33% of the site in RCA.
Is that wetland? Is that what that is?
There's a lot of floodplain and wetland land up here, yes.
Is that on the Greenway plane? Is there greenways through that, or?
There is Greenway on the other side over here. There's a trailhead. They're up above this site. Let me go up to the aerial. That'll give you a better plan. Well, the label's in the way. Anyway, there is, under here, under the bridge, there is a little bit of a greenway. We do anticipate with a future project, or a project that's rather in review now, that we will get that connection here on the west side of the road, where there already is a crossing, where this trailhead is over here on the east side of Green Level Church Road.
Hold on, can you say that again? We anticipate a crossing in future development.
Well, there'll be a connection to the greenway over here under the bridge, where
So there's a
with a different project.
There's an east-west greenway,
Yeah,
and we want to make sure we connect to it along Green Level Church Road. That's what you're saying?
Yes, it's not part of this project. It's
Right.
part of something else in
Right.
review, and
it
that
would require
is
a bridge though over that creek, right?
there is a connection point under the bridge.
But to get across the creek, I thought you had to go on that road or build a new bridge. I was looking at this earlier with a different project, and I was kind of trying to figure out how they could do this. But maybe it's not important for this one. So
We could take that one offline. This is fascinating, though.
yeah,
I love because I like that area. I mean, it's very
awesome.
nice. Yeah,
it's a great greenway. Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't be sarcastic. Don't stop. No, it is. It is. Okay, so back to this.
I'll bring us back. Yeah, we'll,
So back to
head
this.
south just a little bit.
But this all this is all RCA area on the north and west corner.
Correct. So there is no greenway in this area. There is
Site.
parcel
Right.
north, yes, but for this site, no.
And eventually it will have connectivity to the greenway that is north of this parcel.
So where the connectivity, great lead in, where the connectivity is actually going to happen is through the, one, there will be a sidewalk gap that is actually going to be filled by this project, and this is an off-site sidewalk gap down here to Silverdew Court. That will provide the pedestrian connectivity for what is going to be the extension of Roberts Road. This will be a fourth leg of the existing intersection. It will be designed to a minor residential street standard 50-foot right-of-way, 27 feet back-to-back. So it will come in here into the neighborhood. The existing stub outs here to the south and to the west will be extended into the circulation network of this subdivision. And there will be sidewalk along one side of all of the streets, and then we have sidewalk along here. And all of the pedestrian improvements and intersection improvements have been coordinated with our traffic engineering folks and with DOT as well. Additionally, we have coordinated on-site and in correspondence with the town of Cary as well as Wake County Public School System in making sure that all pedestrians in this vicinity are channelized in a safe and efficient means. So all of those pedestrian connections and concerns have been in conversations with all applicable staff and reviewing jurisdictions, including those that are outside of the jurisdiction, town of Cary. So again, primary access to the site will be this fourth leg road intersection, extending of stub streets. This stub here is a zoning condition that if the property here is zoned residential at the time the subdivision comes before you for master subdivision plan approval, it will be built to a residential stub street standard, and it does meet those requirements. Let's see, June 19th, 2018 is when rezoning 18CZ09 for this property was presented to you and approved. All of those zoning conditions are included in your staff report. Some of those we have already gone over in regard to transportation. Buffer types, we have, I'm going to take it to the landscaping plan. We have perimeter buffers are a 10-foot type B, and then along the southern property boundary, we have either a 10-foot type B or a 20-foot type B, depending upon the land use class for which it is adjacent to. This here is where you have your 20-foot type B. Parks and Rec Advisory Commission reviewed this subdivision on October 24th, 2018. That information is included in your packet. The subdivision plan is consistent with the Apex Transportation Plan. These are the elevations that were submitted to you in the rezoning. They are consistent with the zoning conditions presented at that time. I hope we've covered access and circulation. The proposed Ellsworth Master Subdivision Plan is in compliance with the standards of the UDO. Staff recommends approval of this. The Master Subdivision also received unanimous recommendation from Planning Board at their meeting last week. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant and engineer are here if you have any questions for them as well.
Great. All right. Any questions from council?
So I'm kind of confused by this because it seems like the site layout is contingent upon future actions on that Roberts Road intersection that we haven't done anything with yet.
So, great point. Probably lost it when I got talking about the access and transportation. So this area here for future development, we anticipate that you will see a rezoning for this area included in here that will help make more sense. But providing the Roberts Road extension was part of the zoning condition for this property.
Okay, so if that rezoning fails, I'm not sure, probably won't, but if it does, what happens then with this?
Well, so this rezoning came before you earlier this year and was approved to extend Roberts Road to provide access for this subdivision.
Okay.
The intent would be that if when this is rezoned, access could be provided here off of the Roberts Road extension, as well as then any coordination that would need to be coordinated with Town of Apex Traffic and DOT for access along Green Level West, but that would be under a separate petition.
Okay.
But essentially, this sets everything up for future development as well.
Right, but it doesn't have, does the future one have to pass? Or have to be rezoned?
No, it's unrelated. This is the zoning condition that passed in June of this year.
Okay.
And that should be zoning condition number 1, primary access to the property shall be via an extension of Roberts Road to create a fourth leg of the intersection of Roberts Road and Green Level Church Road.
He just had to get the easement for it.
So the easement would be, if it doesn't get rezoned, the easement would be the way.
He
to
has
do
the
it.
easement.
He has the easement, okay.
All right, any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval. Discussion.
On page 4, this developer is paying $3,345.49 per unit for a total of $120,000 in change. Again, just driving up the end cost.
And that's for Parks and Rec?
That's Parks and Rec fee. Yep, I hadn't even itemized the other fees that the town charges for development, but it all
Well,
drives the cost up.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, we have baseball diamonds in our parks for people for children to learn how to play and possibly go on to a university and play there.
All right. I think we're aware. All right. If I could, in the interest of time, can we call for the vote? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right. That passes unanimously. Having reached the end of new business, I only have one thing left for the council. There is a sheet on your desk that's labeled January 3rd workshop for MIG bikes. So if you could fill out that form and turn it into the clerk before you leave, that would be helpful to the clerk. Thank you. And with nothing else on our agenda, please join me in wishing everyone a happy holidays, and we are adjourned. Thank you.